Okay, it's a Blind Math Podcast. We're so excited to be talking today. We're here with Joey from I Don't Want to Do That. So This is the third person we've had from I Don't Want to Do That. Maybe one day we'll talk to a different band, but fuck it.
We probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Only I Don't Want to Do That. It's nice to see you, Joey.
Thank you. You guys are looking good and healthy in this nice dim lighting.
Yeah. Zero's sketchy apartment.
Yeah.
So it's not that sketchy.
It's ambiance. Yeah. We're dimly lit.
The half torn down blinds kind of create like a good mood lighting in this hour.
Yeah, exactly. See?
Yeah, I like it in Zero's apartment, you know. I'm not afraid of Zero's apartment.
And I have art stuff on the walls.
I helped you make that that's from your, well, they can't see what I'm pointing at.
Well, tell people what you're pointing at, Zach.
Well, it's
that looks like algebra homework.
It's it's actually some of it's my ODE homework, my ordinary differential equations homework, but or actually some of it's my quantum homework too, but like
I'm such a fool, I can't tell the difference between quantum and algebra.
I can barely tell. No, but like the thing, we made that for one of Zero's videos. What was it called?
I see,
yeah. And I played a dude who got knocked over. I guess we can link that video in the description. Give Zero more attention than he deserves. No, his music's great. I love Zero. Yeah, I liked your last video the best. The one, what's it called again?
Give It All You Got.
Give It All You Got. Yeah, that one was awesome.
That video the best too. But today's not about me.
Yeah, this is about Joey today.
I feel like guiltily uninvolved with you guys' projects.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, we brought you in because last time we talked so much. Well, on the thing with Tommy, we talked so much about Naples. I really want to talk more about Tallahassee, you know. So that's why you are here, Joey, because from what I understand, you were raised in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I was born at TMH. I lived half here and half in Bainbridge until I was about 4, and then since then I've lived here.
Wow. So,
nice.
So do you like it in Tallahassee? Do you like the constant flow of college students coming in and out?
I really love Tallahassee, and I know a lot of people talk a lot of shit about it here, especially people who are from here and just have no idea what the rest of the world is like, and I can't blame them for trying to blame their problems on the place that they've been their entire life. But I went and did the whole train hopping thing for a few years back when I was like 19. Mm-hmm. And this is my favorite city. I mean, I've definitely seen places that were really cool and that were amazing, and like I wouldn't mind living, and maybe if I'd been born there, I'd feel that way about those places. But this place is definitely good enough for me. I mean, I moved back here, and I didn't even mean to move back here. I meant to just spend my winter here, like I did for the other few years, and then I didn't leave. I got a job, and I started trying to get into school.
So you said you went train hopping? You boarded the trains and went around? Is that what you're saying?
Like you did that by yourself?
Not by myself. You know, I never was accompanied by any less than one person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you go during that time?
I covered a lot of the Southeast. I know the Southeast pretty well, but I have been out west twice. I spent about a couple weeks living in North Dakota as a construction worker, staying in this crazy old racist RV. He'd say the worst things. Oh God. Well, we got pulled off a train. We got caught, and we were like, well, what do we do now? We had a little bit of money. We decided to go to a movie theater, and my boyfriend at the time was just already like blackout drunk, so we passed out in the movies, and we came out and it was raining, and we're like, oh, well, what do? We don't have anywhere to go, so we just stood under this awning. And when we got pulled off, we knew North Dakota had that big oil boom, and they were going to be hiring a lot. And we were in Williston, which was one of the places where they were actually pumping the oil. And we were like, well, we got pulled off. Like, let's just say screw Seattle or Portland and just get some jobs here and head back the other way. And when we got out of the theater, we're sitting under the awning, and it's just like pouring rain. And this dude pulls up in a truck, and he's like, "You guys want jobs?" We're like, "Is that easy?" He just bought us dinner, let us stay in his RV. He just turned out to be just a terrible person, though. He's from Minnesota. Like, they try to be nice, but I think that they're not socialized enough. They're like a dog that's never met another dog. They just want to bite every other dog they see or something.
How long did you stay there?
Just a couple weeks. Just the construction that he was doing, he was laying tile. It was almost done by the time he gave us a job, but it was just a nice like $1,000 in our pocket.
True.
That's fucking crazy. Did he know that you aren't technically white?
He
like, how racist is this
he
person?
speculated, which is also something that's really weird, that it's something people do is like speculate and like really give it thought, like where's their lineage. But him and his friend, actually, one time that we were hanging out, and they said something about how I looked native, because in the Midwest that's mostly the non-white population is Native American.
Okay. Yeah, and the Dakotas.
And he said something really creepy. He's like, "Well, she can't be Native because Native girls don't have an ass like that." I'm just like, oh God, I just want to like wear 17 like layers of aprons over my body right now.
Yeah, fuck, dude.
Do you want to hear the most offensive thing he said?
Yeah, I would
like
love
it
to
almost makes me uncomfortable that it's going to go into the internet and
no one listens to this.
He was talking to his wife on the phone, who was back in Minnesota, and I couldn't really catch what she was saying, but he had made some kind of side joke about peeing in the Mississippi River because it goes all the way up to Minnesota.
Right.
And I guess she said something along like, "Oh, that's not nice. That's gross. Don't do that." And he goes, "Oh, what's the problem? It all just flows down south to the niggers in the South." Like,
holy fuck.
And I was like, whoa,
that's
intense. That was one of the ones that just took it from like, I'm going to tolerate this because he hired us and it's only a week or so. That was one of those things that pushed it to like, I
need to get out of here.
Want to leave.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like, I've dealt with that in Naples. Like, like when you start hanging out with people and you don't think anything of it, like they might be a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend of a friend. You're at some party and I think I've told Zero this a bunch. Like when I've gone back and I've heard people just really liberal with that word. You know, like I'll say it now. I will say that word. I've said nigger before. Ooh, it just hurts to say. Honestly, I don't like saying.
Especially with the microphone
right
in your face.
I know, but like, you know, I'm not one of those people who's like, words are going to kill us all. But when someone says it in that way where it has the traditional evil meaning, you know, like the meaning that is just like not any kind of like camaraderie or any kind of like anything positive, just that evil, visceral, like, I don't like this group of people meaning, it just, it hurts.
Yeah.
Like,
I felt like I got like time machined back into just like the 50s or 60s where it's just so weird that guy's definitely not had the exposure to society enough to know that's a really awful, evil thing to say.
It is.
You're peeing in the river and that's okay because it's going to float down.
You see, the thing that I always wonder with those people, like, they can't possibly know any black people, right?
That's the thing,
Not in Minnesota.
To them,
like, that's the thing that
he's just peeing towards imaginary, hypothetical people.
Like, you know, like, racism in general is just, like, I don't know, I feel like it's a lot easier to be a racist when you never have to, like, when you never ever encounter any of these people ever in your life.
Well, and then their politics, you know, they tend to be right-wing conservative. So those politicians a lot of the time are blaming problems on minorities. So when you see this faceless enemy, it's just so easy to just hate them from that far away.
Yeah, that's true, you know. And God, it's just like, it's just the meaning there. Like, it's difficult to talk to when someone says stuff like that, you know. It's like, where do you begin when you're like, I don't know, I like to think of myself as someone who addresses politics, but when someone has a politics like that, it's just there's no.
That's why with traveling,
like
I had
that.
to really chill out about getting mad about things, because there's just people where the only point in arguing with them is if you just really like arguing and being pissed off, because you just have to let it slide. You can, express your disdain, but there's no point in discussing it, because they're gonna push all your buttons and say all these backwards things that just seem like common sense to you.
Yeah, you're stoking a fire when you play with that.
I mean, like, in talking to people, I've like just come to realize there's certain people who it's either they like their reality is so warped and distorted from like what normal people like who are like in our situation go through, that they don't even like understand what it is to not have opportunities or be in like in a different like setting. So it's like no matter what you tell them, it's not gonna like get to them. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know, a lot of people are just not smart enough to form political opinions. So
you have to
shit.
Absolutely, you have to basically give them a schooling in reason. You have to be like, you can't just believe shit just because you heard it. You have to start with that. And it's like you can't. People get annoyed. Like it's like you're talking down to them, and it's
my thing with people like that is maybe there is a chance that one day they'll see things differently, but it is not my responsibility. I am not the one that's going to be able to do it. Like, maybe something will happen. And I think when people argue with people like that seems so backwards to them, they're thinking like, I just wanted them to think, just see it a little bit. And it's like, no, you're just some 20-something-year-old that they're going to know for a very short amount of time. You're not going to have any impact on their life. You just have to relax and hope that they can figure it out, but just dedicating your energy to it is a complete waste, in my opinion, unless you yourself like are a very convincing person. I'm not a very convincing person. I'm just really good at getting mad about people saying awful things.
Yeah, I'm good at that shit too. It's problematic. Like, I don't know, but it's very nice when you're able to tell people what you actually think. When you kind of liberate yourself, like some people won't do it at all. Like. I've had this experience a lot, especially in terms of religion. Like when you talk to someone and they start saying something about Christianity, and you have the option, like I can either accept what they're saying, like, let them talk to me like I'm a Christian, or tell them like I'm not a Christian, I've never been a Christian, I don't
Well, that's a funny story, actually. Recently, I was walking to the bar from my house, and I ran into some friends who were going to be doing like a performance art thing the next day, and they're like, oh, maybe Joey can help us, because they just needed somebody to play a very small role in what they were doing. And as we're talking, it was, I don't know if you know the girl Adrienne. She's like tall, pretty, and like her friend Catherine, who's petite and pretty.
Okay.
And then this guy Carson. Well, this crazy homeless guy walks up, and I am a major advocate for rights for homeless people, but I'm not going to deny that I cannot always deal with them being like abrasive and insane while I'm just trying to like not be insane myself. He comes up and he's just right off the bat, he's like, you guys believe in God? And I was like shaking my head no, and then Carson's just like, no. And then Adrienne and Catherine were ignoring him, but I kind of kept...
But Carson engages.
I ended up resuming my conversation with Adrienne as kind of like a nod for the guy to go away. But I could kind of hear it on the side. And he basically was like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you believe in God and religion and Christianity, blah, blah, blah. And Carson's just like, I just don't. I just don't believe it. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And he ended up telling Carson that he's not from this country. And so after the guy walked away, we're like, what just happened? He's like, I don't know. He just told me I'm not from this country because I don't believe in God. And we're like, well, what would have happened if you did? And he's like, he would have asked me for money. And we're like, well, then win-win. You don't have to believe in God and you don't have to give the guy money.
That does sound good, yeah. That's totally true. Not believing in God, that I think it starts off really stressful, but eventually you're just kind of, you feel a liberation, like, shit, I never have to worry about that stuff again, like, ever.
I don't know why people are so afraid of death that they just have to make up a whole hypothetical existence afterwards. Right. And I mean, I don't know what happens afterwards, but I'm not going to sit there like waiting for the thing that happens after death, which could just be worm shit. That might be the afterlife. You're a worm's turd.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just feels like people are being like kind of pretentious, saying that they're gonna go up to heaven. Like when people are like, I know he's looking down on us right now. I'm like, you think he's above us, like godlike or something, like some mystical like creature upstairs? Like no.
What really blows my mind, because there's like the condescending Christians, and then there's the people who still believe that same thing, like, oh, you're going to go to hell and I'm going to go to heaven, but they're like worried about it, and they really want, they feel really terrible that they can't, like that you're
that
then,
you're
like,
going to,
the missionaries that go looking to like third world countries, because they're like, we know they're good people, but they're going to go to hell because they don't know about Jesus.
They're so self-important. They're so like, I've dealt with them like my whole life. They're like, no, it's not that I'm disrespecting you as a Jew. I just don't want you to go to hell, and I think you're worse than me morally. And it's like, do you know, like, just because you believe this doesn't mean you're not an asshole, you know? Like, to me,
and like, I mean,
you're
they're
an
definitely
asshole
they're coming
for
from an
saying that.
asshole place a little bit, but I genuinely like believe that I've met some really sincere Christians that there's something is wrong in their head where they
that's true too.
want nothing more than to help you go to heaven, but that's just the problem in itself, is like the way that they want to do a nice thing is in an asshole way.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I think there's like also the thing that it's like, I don't think a lot of people have contemplated heaven, like really, really thought about heaven, like what it would mean if like the heaven of the Bible was the place that you were forever.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably suck, is my opinion. And we've talked about this before. I think if heaven was real, I would not enjoy it.
Ever, and you
know?
can't leave.
Yeah.
Ever, no
Well, did you
have to
ever
be
read
subservient.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac?
No.
Oh
no,
my
I've
god.
never,
That was like a really... The guy that made Invader Zim.
Oh,
Before that, he had a comic, and I used to love reading it in middle school, and it's really gory and really violent, and but there's he ends up meeting death, and he ends up kind of getting a sneak peek into heaven, and everyone's just sitting in chairs, and he's like, what are you people doing? And like, we're content, we don't need to do anything, this is what heaven is, complete happiness and contentment doing nothing.
Jesus.
And he just starts flipping out. And I always just thought that was really funny, because like ultimately, if heaven was really such a great place where everyone's happy, then you wouldn't want anything. You wouldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just want to sit in a room.
That's the way it's described. It's really like kind of like almost like Eastern mysticism. It's like almost like you achieve a state of nirvana and you just like.
Well, what I love, I went to New Orleans one time, and I don't know, have you guys been there, like on Bourbon Street, where all the crazy Christian picketers with like the hate signs, like the list of people going to hell? I think it might be more of like a Mardi Gras time only, when everyone's acting really crazy. Yeah. They have these signs that it's like a list of people going to hell, and one of them was like machine gun mouth women and emos. Harry Potter fans. These are all things on the list.
Oh,
of
dude,
the
Harry Potter people. Oh man.
But they also like. I decided one night that I was gonna like buy into it as kind of a joke, and because they're really mean to people out there. They're really mean, and I have a hard time being mean to people. But I felt like I was gonna get kind of a kick out of
being
pretending.
Yeah.
So I went up, and I'm just like been covered in like my dirt tan, like homeless filth and ratty clothes and like metal band patches all over me and whatever. And I go up, I'm like, I actually really appreciate what you guys are doing, like, and I'm kind of interested. And they're just, the amount of appreciation, they were just blown away. And they did not see ever at any point that I was fucking with them, because I was kind of being hokey the whole time also. And I asked them to save me, and they put their fucking hands on my forehead, and then I started convulsing and like doing my best impression of tongues, and I just collapsed to the floor. I got up, and I don't know, maybe I even squeezed out a fake tear or two, but I was just like, oh my God, I feel Jesus. I feel it. I feel he's a part of me now. And then I was like, thank you guys so much. And they all gave me a big hug. And that was the one moment, like, no matter how much they are assholes, I did kind of feel guilty when they all gave me this big, like, you're part of the family hug. And I was just like, oh God, I'm going to hell if there is a hell now. And but they were bribing me. They were like bribing me with like why I should want to accept Jesus. And it's because in heaven, all of the driveways and houses are paved with gold. And I'm just like, why do you fucking want gold in heaven? Like, what are you going to do?
What are you going to buy?
Let me trade you this gold brick that everybody apparently has 10,000 of.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, a goat, a high five. What do you want for this?
Wait. Everyone has like everything they want.
When he said that to me,
that sounds like communism.
Yeah, when he described it to me though, I imagined like a suburb, only just like the driveways and houses were gold. But it's like a suburb.
But they don't get rid of thoughts, do they? You still have to have thoughts all the time.
But you're surrounded by gold, so who cares?
Yeah. That must be.
I don't think you understand how much gold is worth. since the little recession we hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but if there's gold everywhere, if the streets were made of gold, like who would want
then everyone's
that shit?
rich.
Who would want that shit? Like you go to like the store and you're like, here's some gold. Like, yeah, there's fucking gold everywhere.
The Hooters
like,
waitresses are made of gold in heaven.
All right, you've convinced me. That's all.
It's one of the
I haven't been there in a long
time. Like metals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the story of this guy. You know Goldschlager, that liquor with like gold flakes
in it.
This dude drank Goldschlager every day, and he died because what the fuck is?
But his poop was worth.
His liver got full of gold.
Oh, his liver then was worth so much.
Yeah, someone should have sliced him open and. Oh boy!
I have a feeling there's no cigarettes in here, is there?
Oh, in this room.
Allowed.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
no,
cool.
no, we're a sober bunch here. Even though, well, we are drinking beer actually as we speak, but no, we
take your cancer sticks elsewhere. Yeah.
Cigarettes
are
cigarettes are pretty nice, I will admit, but no, if you want to smoke some reefer, you can. You're allowed to do that.
I'm gonna have to admit to the whole internet right now that I do not smoke weed.
I mean,
now everyone knows I'm a big square.
No. Yeah, she joined my team. Take that, Zach.
Whatever. You don't know what you're missing. No, it's probably a good thing.
No, I do know what I'm missing. I kind of miss it. I used to sell weed, and
really?
if I had anything less than a half-eighth a day, half-eighth a day was that was my minimum. That was like, man, I really didn't smoke any weed today. But I'd just lay in my bed playing video games, and people would just come in, and they'd want to buy a half track, and then they'd end up sitting there playing games with me until we smoked it all, and so they'd have to buy another one. So it's just.
So why do you end up stopping?
Just over time, weed didn't do what it did for me before. It's like not that I wasn't getting as high, it's that getting high went from being less fun to being just not fun, but something I did, to actually being like just tormenting. It wasn't like when I'd get high, like I don't know what happened. I'd get extremely nervous around people. I didn't want to do things I used to want to do when I was high, like go out and climb trees and be funny and watch movies. I just would want to sit and hide, and it just got really awful, and I didn't like it.
See,
I'm totally with that.
Me.
No, that's the thing is, you like never really like I smoke weed like every day, like I don't know. I know what you're talking about. Like, there's those days where you're at home and you get invited to something, but you've already started smoking, and someone's like, "Do you want to come out?" And you're like, "Well, the computer screen looks so I just want to turtle it up in here." I just started watching The Wire, I thought maybe I should finish that tonight.
I figured I would just watch an entire television show's life on TV. All 7 seasons, gotta kill that tonight, so I can't go out.
It took them 12 years to film this, and I watched it in 20 hours, Oh well.
You get to watch the progression of like fashion and culture.
Yeah, you see the actors
it happens
age
so fast.
Yeah, it's always weird when you're like watching something and you're like marathoning it.
Yeah.
And then you skip the season and they're like a year older and it's like they're like young kids, so it's like the growth of a year is like fucking noticeable, and it's just like this clearly was not like a month layoff, you know. Obviously this was fucking longer.
Yeah.
Fucking TV gods, god damn it.
Yeah. Well, TV is amazing. TV these days has gotten a lot better.
Well, bringing back storytelling, which is a big thing.
Yeah, but I never like turn on my TV.
Well, I mean,
neither
do I. Well, I have a computer.
Wait,
I watch all my
how do you
TV
live?
on the computer. That's all you need these days.
Yeah.
I watch my Bob's Burgers around 2 a.m. every night on my phone to fall asleep, and that's
Nice.
my
Oh,
ritual.
you have a magic phone?
Yeah, I got an iPhone.
Mm.
I don't know if I would
shit.
call that magic.
They're magic to me. I don't know, but they seem
Wizardry.
Wizardry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. One of these days, those phones are gonna turn into like robotics. Like you put it on the table, and it like transforms into a little mini robot that can go.
He'll get your beer.
Yeah, or
Bring you a beer.
or masturbate you.
It's gonna be like. It's gonna
I
be
don't
like
want my
Futurama.
phone to masturbate me.
You
It's
say
like
that now.
It's like showing you the porn as it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Doesn't that
literally,
sound like a great
They're
experience?
just gonna skip
That
it.
sounds
Like
scary.
in the future, your phone is just gonna be able to like connect directly into your brain and give you like neurotransmitters.
No, we're
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah.
start making
And
like
so it'll
hot.
be like it'll just like give you pure like bliss. Just
Yeah.
No, we're
yeah.
just gonna start making like hot people. Like your phone's no longer this little square you carry around. It's like just a really hot lady or a hot dude or whatever it is you're
Yeah.
into, and they bang you and they talk to your friends for you and they
Yeah.
update your Facebook.
They're
and,
really
No,
stupid,
like,
but they will bang you and
they're-
talk to
Yeah.
your friends.
They're
for you.
working
and they
on
won't be
that,
jealous
too.
if you find someone else or switch phone services or whatever.
Dude, if they made the perfect sex bot that you could customize,
Sex bot.
yeah, they're really people are really working
Dude,
on
people
that.
would never leave their house if that
Dude,
happened.
like,
Like if it was
like,
This is a
imagine-
Futurama episode we're
imagine-
talking about right now.
All right, would you fuck a sex bot?
It's saying.
I would do it once. I would do it once.
How convincing is it? Like you know it's a robot, but everything about it's human.
Everything about it is not only human. You can give it what you can make it look like whatever you want. Give it whatever features.
Well, yeah,
you
I
want.
absolutely. I would be in a foursome with David Beckham, Adam Levine, and Justin Bieber. And
You
it's
see
hands
what
down.
Adam
down.
Levine,
Yeah.
Adam Levine,
I
and
think
Justin
that
Bieber.
anyone who
At
denies
first, when you said
that-
David Beckham, I'm like, Joey likes soccer. Oh, never mind.
No, Joey just likes hot dudes.
yeah, you see what I mean? Like, fucking, like the Justin Bieber bottle would sell like so
Oh
fucking much.
God,
Oh, it'd be so expensive.
I really
Alright, so
want
how
someone
long
to
would
hurt
Justin
that
Bieber's
person.
penis be on the? On,
Oh, because
on
I
the-
control that too.
Yeah, you can.
It's not just an
you just-
anatomically correct replica.
Everything, yeah, like it's customizable. Maybe you're like, I want the Justin Bieber model, but
You
I
know,
want this
no
guy's
wonder
penis.
nobody listens to these podcasts. 'Cause we're just, how
What is
long would you
smut
like
is this?
Justin Bieber's penis to be?
Okay, you don't have to answer that. Okay, all right. So we can get back to the real topics. We have so many things to
We
ask
did
you.
stray very far from Tallahassee.
We strayed far from. I was going to
Hey,
talk to you about. I don't want to
I
do
like
that.
sex bots.
When did? All right. Let me ask you though. Like of the people, because you, it seems like you hang out with a lot of college students.
Yeah.
Of the people you like grew up with, how many do you still talk to them? Is there a thing with the people who grew up here and the people who go to college here? Because it seems like most of the people I know are on their way out already. You know.
It's a thing. I'd say it's more of like an unspoken like nod kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, you're from Tallahassee too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that all your best friends or your crew are going to be like, oh, I have a special group. It's just people from here that I love. And maybe that's how it is for other people. But I do have a lot of friends who are natives. I am surprised at how shocked people are to find out that I'm from here, because growing up here, I know enough people who are from here.
Yeah.
And I even meet people who are from here. And it's just like, is it really that surprising? But I guess it is, because this age group that we're in is comprised of mostly college kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I do have, like, my best friend for the past 9 or 10 years now. She's we're supposed to grab lunch and she totally ditched me. No, but yeah, I have best friends, but honestly, like, It doesn't really matter to me if you're from here or not, because I was pretty awkward throughout high school. So even the people that I'm friends with now that are from here are just same as anyone else.
Yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't like bother you at all that people are like. I guess what I want to know though is, do you see Tallahassee growing? Because it seems like there's a lot more people here than there used to be, but it seems like it might only be because the school is growing.
In the sense that more things are being added.
Yeah.
But as far as like growing in the community sense, no, it's being dismantled by the college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got Starbucks that just opened up, by All Saints.
There's a Starbucks by All Saints?
And we got Urban Outfitters.
Where?
It's like right across from Urban Outfitters. And Urban Outfitters has a coffee shop too.
There's a Starbucks there?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And one of my friends that works there talks about people go into All Saints all the time with a Starbucks cup of coffee. And he just looks at them and they'll look kind of like, oh, are you looking at me? And they kind of like ignore it until they finally go up and they're just like, are you looking at me? And he's like, yes. And they're like, why? Is there a problem? And he's like, where are you? Where are you right now?
Like you really think like this is okay?
And they're like, All Saints Cafe. And it's totally clueless. I'm just at All Saints. And it's like, what are you drinking? Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I mean, it's one thing bringing like outside food, but actually bringing Starbucks coffee.
But, I mean, outside food too. Yeah.
They still don't...
Not just
I know they
any
don't
coffee, but
yeah,
like Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
That's...
I feel like, yeah. They have... I know they don't allow like outside food, but I feel like for the most part, if you're like...
If you're a regular there and you're like snacking on a granola bar, they're not gonna...
Yeah, but if yeah, exactly. Like Starbucks coffee, that's like a clear like no.
And when also when I
unambiguous.
When I worked at the restaurant like down the street from there, it used to be a Wild Greens on Spread and Roses. When I worked there, I'd get my employee meal, but I'd run out the door. Like I didn't want to be at work anymore. I'd run out with my like one employee meal and just sit on the porch and eat it, and they didn't have a problem with that. But it's that's very different than bringing Starbucks in. And they opened up Urban Outfitters down the street from Avant Garde and all those little shops over there.
I don't know. I think hopefully the community will stay behind. I mean, I don't go to Starbucks. I won't pay that much money for their shitty coffee.
They have a very loyal local and community base, but the truth of the matter is that only makes up such a percentage.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a place flourishing and struggling.
Yeah, that's true.
And you've got all these, college kids. They're obviously not going to care. And so that's a few customers less. It's not that big, like the really sorority type girls and fratty guys that are going to be going to Starbucks or Urban Outfitters. But then you've also got the people who would find somewhere like All Saints cute or avant-garde. Like they were like, oh, that's local, that's cute, let me support them. But they're not fully committed to community, and they're like, oh, well, this is Urban Outfitters and Starbucks. I'm very familiar and safe with those places. Let me go there. They don't see the harm in choosing those places. Like they do have some sense of independent business and or like a quirky alternative style, but not enough to completely boycott a place that rips off of independent artists and restaurants and businesses.
And let's be real, like All Saints is a much better cafe than Starbucks is. They bake their cookies
That's why
way
people
better.
go from Starbucks over to All Saints also, is they don't want to sit in that like nasty, crowded, just generic, gross place. They want to sit and do their homework at All Saints without getting All Saints coffee. Like that, I think that's really awful.
Well, All Saints is open 24 hours. I got that going for them, but I mean
24 hours every day but Christmas.
Yeah, and they're blessed. That's a blessed place. I remember I was there when I was like kind of it's weird telling this story, but when I was sick last year, I was like I was there because I couldn't sleep because the drugs they put me on like kept me up. And I was there a lot, like up late at night. I was studying there with Parker, and I don't know, there's something like really special about going there at 4 a.m. when you need to study. You know what I mean? It's just something, I don't know, it's almost cathartic. Like, the workers there like kind of love you in a weird way. Like I remember one time I was there, and it's kind of a gay story, but I was with a girl, and I dropped my drink, right? I dropped my drink, and it spilled as we were walking out, and I looked, and I was like, fuck, this is so not cool to drop your thing. And I looked and I saw the worker, and she just like waved me off and smiled and like just told me to, and I was like, I don't know, something about that what made me really happy, you know, because like the girl didn't even notice that happened. Yeah, because like it happened behind her, and the worker just like acknowledged. I don't know who it was, but whoever, if she remembers that, whoever it was that did that was fucking amazing. Like, I don't know. Yeah. All Saints is a special place, you know.
I mean, I've been going there since I was like 14. You know, it's like 9 years now. Actually, it's funny because one of my friends he worked there when I was like 15 or whatever, and he's older than me, not substantially, but, you know, just like one peer group up from me. And he was talking to like his roommate about like watching people grow up while working at All Saints. And I was like, this is so weird because like we're hanging out now and you watched me grow up from your job at a coffee shop. It's like you've seen me almost every day for 7 years just because I like to go here and drink coffee and hang out.
It's a blessed place. It's a blessed place. And they make damn good cookies, okay?
The almond cranberry.
Oh, that's pretty dang.
That's the best one. I had like an addiction to those like last year. It got out of control.
And they make them
I don't
fresh.
even like sweets. I don't even like sweets.
No, like that's what I'm saying. Their cookies, they're like sustenance, you know? Like they're not even like sweet kind of cookies, you know? They're like breakfast cookies.
But you got like Susie and Evan there working, who are like the coolest, bestest cooks in the whole world.
Are they the ones that make the cookies?
Yeah.
Shout out to Susie and Evan. You are awesome. I never knew it was you who made these delicious cookies, but you've provided me with so many delicious meals. I mean,
I don't know if they make every cookie. I know that they make some of the cookies.
Okay, well, they're probably not listening anyways, but
but they are. At least shout out to them for being like the coolest, bestest cooks in town.
Yeah, most def. All right, let's talk about I Don't Want to Do That. So, when did this band start? I Don't Want to Do That. Because I really like them, by the way. I just want to preface it with that. Like, of the punk bands in town, I like y'all probably more than any band I've seen in like years. Not to suck your dick.
That's very flattering with like Webcam Teens and Violently High and X-Breathers existing.
Punk bands. Well,
I guess they're more straightforward like punk.
Yeah, to me you guys remind me a little bit of Circle Jerks, and that's the kind of punk that I like. Like the really like brief, like crafted, you know, shit. But yeah, so how long have y'all been together?
Well, sometime back when Jet Set Lounge, I don't know if you've ever been there.
Wasn't that?
There's just this place on like Carolina and Macomb.
Yeah.
They used to have punk shows, and it wasn't like the kind of place you'd expect to have that, and it was pretty much only during shows. It's just we got along with the people there, and they live right next to the Carolina house. But somewhere back around then, so I'm going to say like maybe last winter, Chris was really drunk. And he came up to me, and I think he probably just had this thought in his head for about 5 minutes before he came up to me and was like, "You want to be in a hardcore punk band I'm going to start?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "We're just going to be all about drinking. We're going to be called Belligerently Drunk. And we're going to play with Violently High." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great. I can totally do that." And we ended up... I guess Chris and Tommy worked on music for a little while before we ever actually all got up together with me. But we talked about names for a long time because I guess we just ended up not liking Belligerently Drunk. And we were going through a lot of names, and Chris had come up with a name that I liked, but that was kind of generic in the sense that, like, without even having to look it up, you know someone else probably has that name. What was it? It was called the Bedwetters.
Yeah, there might be someone called
that. So I ended up... we were talking about it, and I was like, I mean, I understand, like, I don't want to take a band's name knowing that band exists, but the fact that, like, we came up with it, and, you know, it's not really a big deal. Like, they'll always be obscure in their weird hometown, and we'll always be obscure in our hometown. Like, it's not a big deal. And I wasn't, like, set on the name. I was just kind of, like, just talking gibberish.
Right.
And, he's like, "Yeah, I know, and you're totally right, but I don't want to do that." And I was just like, fine, let's be I don't want to do that then. And we went up to Tommy, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm cool with that." So it's this joke because people say I don't want to do that so much more often than they realize. Only since I've been in a band called I Don't Want to Do That have I noticed how often people say, yeah, I don't want to do that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'd say I think we played our first show either in early January or late December.
Where was that at?
Shark Tank.
So
We've played a majority of our shows at Shark Tank.
Before that, like, did you do vocals like for any bands before, or is this just like?
No, that's why like the quality of like if you see any of our videos on YouTube, like I feel like I sound like garbage in those, and people like them, but from where I am now, just like practicing and like learning over a few months and just going from like I don't know anything to okay, this is what works, this isn't, it changed how I do things a lot. I don't know if I sound that different.
You're so like visceral and angry and like
yeah, you're always I noticed you're always trying to force people into a mosh. Maybe it's
how dare they not mosh? What is their problem?
No, I'm with you. I like to mosh. I'm just not usually the one who initiates the mosh. I'm usually just like someone who like, you know, I'm happy to be in a mosh.
I don't really know. Is that what you have to do to get them to mosh?
I don't know.
Being, you know, the front person for a band is such a better excuse to start slamming into people and making them mosh than just being another person watching. Like now you're that like annoying drunk person that's just hitting people and they don't want to move. Whereas like, no, I'm in the band. You're the asshole because you're not pushing back.
Yeah, that's a pretty good tactic.
No, this is my first band. I did play music when I was traveling, but it was very singy, like bluesy folk stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And I've lost that voice completely from just playing shows and smoking more. And
yeah, do you play any instruments?
I play ukulele, banjo, guitar, flute. I used to play trombone. I don't think I'm so good at that anymore. Mm-hmm. I took a stab at mandolin, but that's a very difficult instrument to play well.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the only instruments that I won't be too embarrassed to play in front of other people would be banjo, guitar, and ukulele.
Man, that's still a lot.
That's cool. I like banjo. I've been fucking with banjo recently. I really like banjo, but that's pretty cool though.
Yeah, you play
instrumentalist and you
stuff.
Singing. I don't want to do that. Oh yeah, we never said officially, but yeah, you are the singer. I'm sure everyone who's listening to this knows that, but
I'm the yelling idiot, temper tantrum brat.
Yeah,
that's my.
Yeah, you do a good job at it.
Okay.
Temper tantrum, which kind of. What were you gonna ask them?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you something because I like have to know this. That's you in the picture for I Don't Want to Do That on Facebook, right?
That information cannot be disclosed.
Okay, well, whoever is on this picture, everyone should look this up. I'll put the link in the description.
Why don't we just put it as the background for this video?
I don't want to do that. It's like this girl, like
puking
in a pool of her own vomit.
I think it's spaghetti.
Okay,
you think it's spaghetti?
That's what I want.
It's spaghetti vomit. It's definitely vomit. I'm not saying it's not vomited spaghetti. I'm saying it's vomited spaghetti.
And I was just wondering, like, what the circumstances of that picture were.
Some gross spaghetti.
That's part of our
part of
our little
your mistake.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, we'll put it in the background so people can look at its gloriousness.
Wait, speaking of amazing pictures, and I feel really bad because no one's gonna be able to see this.
Oh.
Unless
we put this in the background.
Yeah. Also,
okay.
I just really want to show you guys the best picture of a blowjob I've ever seen in my whole life.
She's scrolling through her iPhone.
I guess you guys can listen to our.
No,
our
as soon as I saw it,
I
had to save it.
Is this like someone you know?
Oh my God!
Wait, let me see. Let me see.
It looks like she's going.
Alright, she just showed me a picture.
It's an 80s blowjob.
Of some 80s.
Her
woman.
hair is.
She's got the big perm. She's got the classy jewels.
And her teeth are out.
And her teeth are like way too close to that penis.
Everything about this picture though is perfect to me. Like the shitty blue eyeshadow and like the pink lipstick with the darker lip liner around it. It's just the embodiment of an 80s blowjob, and
That's what it was like.
And she's obviously aggressively on cocaine because she's about to rip that guy's skin off with her teeth.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
Well, that was disturbing. Thank you, Joey.
You're welcome. If you want, I can send it to you and you can put it on your little
our little
photo gallery.
Yeah, it's going to be an epic.
It'll be pictures of people throwing up spaghetti and biting blowjobs. Yeah. Biting blowjobs. That's a good name for a band right there. Oh, God. Well, so, all right. So in terms of I Don't Want to Do That, do you guys plan to play more shows soon? Are you good? Because last time I saw you, in case not to like say anything weird, but last time you seemed very much like you were thinking about ending I Don't Want to Do That.
Yeah, I was just in a really, really dark place during that show. I was having a pretty bad panic attack before we were going on, and Tommy was like, "We're going on after this band, but you don't have to play." But I don't know. I feel extremely obligated, not in like I have to do this, but like, no, I really have to do this. Like, I need this. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I canceled a show over having panic attacks and like always being nervous or depressed, because part of me like overcoming that is going out there and just like screaming at people.
Yeah.
So I got like super depressed, and actually playing the show helped me feel better for maybe 10 minutes. But because I used like anger and violence to vent, it made it so that once I was like kind of out of the high of playing a show, I was at an even angrier and more violent place than I was when I started. And I was just throwing things and just like I was trying very hard not to break everything and punch everyone, but I think I kind of was a huge asshole that night to everybody. I was trying not to be. My apologies to anyone who was offended by me that night. But I was in a very very awful place because I've been fighting with it's a schizoaffective disorder. It's a I don't know, the best way to describe it in layman's terms is kind of like I'm not schizophrenic in the sense, like that's a psychosis that can kind of, it can be triggered, but it's always kind of lingering. Whereas my psychosis is more like triggered by anxiety and depression. It's kind of just like light schizophrenia sprinkled over anxiety and bipolar, or depression.
And it flared up a bit that night, I suppose. I could see how, like, if you were going into it depressed, like, the high of the show coupled with the depression, like, when you came down, turned into something nasty.
And normally, I get to hide. When I feel that way, I'll be at a party or some other show, and I get to go sit in my car or just, take a breather, like, away from everybody else. But because, like, I was in the spotlight, I mean, of my own choice, I chose for me to play, but I felt like because all eyes were on me, it was easier to blow up because I couldn't like keep a lid on it. And then also seeing, someone having a panic attack tends to draw attention because they want to help.
Yeah.
But overall, I was not having it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy to see that you seem a little better today, because I remember that at the time, like, you did seem like you were freaking out. But I mean, I got the impression that it was just like the wrong time for you at that moment. Like I remember because you were getting mad at my friend Parker, and I didn't see what he said to you, so I don't know what happened, but I remember you were like pissed off at him about something. And it was like, for me, because like I know Parker, and I know he usually doesn't try to like fuck with anybody, but I could totally see him saying the wrong thing to you at the wrong time.
Wrong time,
and it just turning into something bad. So it was like, I'm glad to see that you're feeling better, and that, Yeah,
well, actually, I made amends with Parker as well. He sent me a
really?
message over Facebook, and it was like an apology, but I was like, hey, I was an asshole too, so let's just be friends.
I'm really happy to hear that. That's good news to me, because Parker, I know he's actually in Orlando right now. He's going through a rough time himself, but I'm just happy to hear that you both are amended up. And hopefully we'll see more I Don't Want to Do That shows, because I enjoyed that show. Actually, at that show, I remember you pointed at like upwards during your performance at me. You were pointing upwards, and I didn't know what you meant. I thought you meant like, this is how much of a narcissist I am. I thought you were like, I'm gonna pick you up and make you crowd surf. But the next thing that you did was you jumped onto my shoulder, and I wasn't.
How did I jump on your shoulder?
Something, and I didn't even look, and like I was like so unprepared, like I just like dropped you, and you fell and then we just got like back up, and you just jumped on more people. But at the time, I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I definitely was in this really weird space in my mind where I felt like I was just like a clown. Like I felt like, and I know this isn't true, really, but it's just. I have, a lot of diagnoses for my mental health, and I don't think of things as disorders so much as just differences that don't fit in as well. But I felt like here I am, like I'm using this band like to cope with things, like, and have fun, just do it in a positive way, like get rid of a lot of like aggression in a very
positive,
contributing,
cathartic way, maybe.
I felt like, because the past few shows we've played, people didn't really dance around, and I think that kind of added on to my panic attack, where I was just like, all these people, they come here and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Has that girl that just rolls around on the floor and acts crazy and is really energetic, and that's very flattering. But then to see people just not responding at all, it's like, hey, I'm putting out, like, this isn't just like a fun party for me, like this is actually something to me that is like a real release, that actually is therapy for me. And to see you all just expecting me to be a certain way without having to give anything back, like it made me feel like I was some kind of like jester or something. And
that brings up an interesting question, like that whole ordeal about like, why do we even do this? Why do we even go to the house shows and we play in our shitty bands to drunk people? Like, why do we do it in the first place? No one I know is actually making money from this. Nobody's doing it. Not. Like, you're doing it because it's
one
fun.
Time we made $10.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh shit, that covered the beer that I bought tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, that's why is it in the first place? I mean, my answer, I would like to hear your answer, but my answer is, you write these songs, you do these things. It's when you're doing it by yourself, it's like you're writing in your diary, But when you do it in front of people, there's a communication there. There's something transmitted. It's almost like saying, I'm alive because these people recognize the shit that I've been doing. Yeah. It's a way of feeling alive.
Well, yeah, it's really nice to see people react in a positive way to your like issues and stresses.
Yeah.
I mean, I could write about these things and I could talk about these things with my friends, but it doesn't really feel like they understand it, even if they don't consciously understand. Just them like dancing really hard and like getting like aggressive with me to the music is this like instinctual, like primal agreement to understand the chaos that's always going on inside my head.
Yeah.
And also, I know that it may not look like people are enjoying the show very much. It may look like they're just standing there with their arms crossed and being drunk. But sometimes it's just there's too many people there that don't feel like they're the ones that can start the dancing, or they're just not feeling it the night. I've been to plenty of shows where I didn't dance at all, and I felt kind of bad, but it's like, well, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not going to force myself to feel it when I'm just not. And so when I play these shows where nobody really moves around, what I tell myself is like, they may not be moving around, but they came out here and they've come to several of these shows. They like seeing this. And so they somehow are connecting to it. Even if it's not manifesting itself physically, it's doing something for them. Yeah. Or else they wouldn't come out, and that's nice.
Most definitely.
I expected the same thing. Like, I thought that more people would dance to our songs.
Yeah, no, I was just
Hey, most underrated band in Tallahassee over here.
You're so nice for saying that. But yeah, like, I mean, fucking whenever we play, like, people don't move as much as I think they would.
And people talk about how good you guys are all the time, and I'm like, well, then where were you when we were all dancing?
I know, and people always are like...
That's the thing, though, that, like, people do say good things, and we get more shows every time we perform.
I know, so and it's so confusing.
Like They must like, even though they're
But
not
the thing is,
moving.
it's very dancey. It's very danceable music.
I know. It's
as well.
It's not mosh music, but it's it's meant to move your butt. You're supposed to move your butt. If you could mosh to it, I would fucking encourage it.
I mean, like all these kids that go to those shows, they're also listening to like hip hop and stuff. But for some reason, bridging some sort of gap in between like
hip hop and
all your influences confuses people or something. I don't know.
It seems like the natural progression to me, honestly, blending hip hop and punk and blues, because they all come from the same origin, essentially. You know, it makes sense to me. I mean, fucking a lot of bands of like the Beastie Boys were originally a hardcore punk band. We're not the first band to do this type of thing.
I don't think that.
Well, you guys went from being like a rap group to playing punk music.
I mean, I don't know. It's
kinda
fun. It's weird considering myself in like a hip hop group, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I consider blind math. I don't really can try and like put too much genre.
When people ask, I'm like, look, I know I'm gonna sound like a huge nerd right now, and this doesn't sound like a combination that makes any sense, and even so, I'm not doing it justice. But just believe me, I have excellent taste, and it's kind of like punk meets blues meets hip hop with some like funk in there.
I think that's
pretty much the encompassing that we go for.
I mean, like it's very nice of you. You've said so many nice things about Blind Math, and we're happy to have you here. You're such a good friend to our band and all that stuff.
And
you know,
awesome, and your vocals are awesome.
Well, maybe we should end there. We're at 55 minutes, but it might maybe be nice to end on a positive note. But when's I Don't Want to Do? Did you say when I Don't Want to Do that's playing again? Do you guys know?
We have a show. You know, I know when they are, but I click yes to everything they asked me.
Probably the Shark Tank, I think.
Yeah, we're playing the 1st and the 4th, and I think those are both at Shark Tank. I'm checking my events right now on my Magic phone.
On the Shark Tank again.
I will definitely.
I haven't been there in a while. I'd like to go there.
That's where a majority of our shows have been played, but I really like it.
Yeah,
I like that. And that's where Chris lives, so.
Yeah, so that's where we practice. That's where we record.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're playing, I don't know what other local bands are playing on the 1st, but the touring band is going to be Susie Trash.
True.
It's Missouri/Arkansas noisy garage punk. Oh, and I guess, I don't know if you've heard of N Skywalker. I've seen them once. I was very drunk. I feel bad that I can't give like a real good synopsis for them.
True.
It's described as punk rock and roll in the event. And I don't want to do that. Thrashed potatoes is our description there.
Well, we hope we can get this podcast out by then. If not, too bad y'all missed it or didn't miss it. I don't know. But,
and then, but then there's the 1st, but then there's also the 4th, which is... It's a pretty big deal. Atomic Dog's last show before Kirsten moves off to I Hate Joey land, and that's why I'm getting away from her land.
Where's she going?
I really like
Paris
that band
in the
too.
summer.
Really Paris.
And then South Korea. I don't know like the time frame for that, but Atomic Dog, Madison Turner, she's absolutely amazing. She's just got these really aggressive vocals over acoustic guitar. But I'm not usually a huge fan of that, but I think they're great.
Yeah.
And there's Echo Bass and I think Caitlin Dunn. So.
Well, that sounds great. I mean, I hope this comes out before then. And also, Blind Math is doing a radio show, I guess, June 9th. And we're playing a 3-hour set at Bird's Aphrodisiac Shack, which I still don't know how the fuck we're going to come up with that. I mean, we have like an hour of original songs, and then like we need 2 more hours of bullshit. So
really? Like playing like all night?
We're playing through, so if you want to see us for 3 hours, I know it seems like we're giving our talents away, but...
Hey, but I think we get like...
You get free oysters?
Yeah, we get something. I think we get beer. I think
one of those big hamburgers that they have.
They better give us a fucking hamburger.
Whoa!
So, is there anything that you want to leave our wonderful podcast audience with?
Yeah. Do you guys hear about the guy that had his whole left side removed?
What?
Let's go.
His whole left side?
The whole thing, the left side of his body.
His left like lungs, his left heart. What? Why?
Well, he's all right now.
Oh God! I jumped right into that. That's pretty good. All right. Blind Math Podcast, going to bed now. We're going to go to sleep and the show right now. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, Zero. Goodbye, Joey and Tran.
Position.